Google Earth lets us see things from another perspective. It presents a 3D representation of the Earth using satellite imagery. If you look closely, there are many things you could discover. In today's video, we bring you some of the most mysterious abandoned discoveries that have been made in Google Earth. The deserted city. East St. Louis, Illinois was once a thriving town with a booming population of about 82,000 residents in the 1920s. The city was regarded as one of the most successful in the state until the 1960s, when the manufacturers that brought thousands of jobs to the area moved their operations to another location. They took 70% of the city's business with them upon leaving. East St. Louis lost more than half its population between 1970 and 2000. Residents kept leaving to find greener pastures in regions with better economic opportunities. Today, less than 30,000 people reside in East St. Louis, when it made the headlines for its widespread poverty, empty, decaying buildings, and crime. Thanks to Google Earth, we can see the devastation that has befallen this area. The streets are empty, with countless homes and business places boarded up. The most visible landmark in this town is the 12-story Spivey building. It was built sometime in the 1920s to give the city a skyline. Instead of making this city look better, it is now a graffiti-covered eyesore. There's talk about reviving this city and even building a branch of the Eastern Illinois University and gambling establishments that will bring jobs to the current population. Ancient geoglyphs. At times, you need to look at something from a different angle to discover fascinating things. Apparently, more than 50 massive geoglyphs dot the landscape in northern Kazakhstan, but they are difficult to notice at ground level. These collections of shapes are more visible from a bird's eye view. Researchers discovered these geoglyphs in 2014 using Google Earth. Some of these geoglyphs resemble the swastika, which was commonly used in ancient times before Hitler ruined it for everyone. Archaeologists think these geoglyphs might have been used to mark land ownership, or might have been places where rituals took place. To date, we don't know who built them, why they were built, or what purpose they serve. Nike missile bases. Have you heard of Project Nike? It was a project the United States government embarked upon during the Cold War. The government established nearly 300 missile sites as part of this project, leading to the United States' first operational anti-aircraft missile system. Between 1954 and the 1970s, these supersonic missiles sat at these sites, ready to launch at a moment's notice if the Soviets were attacking with a bomber. When the Soviets started developing ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, the threat of an attack was reduced. The U.S. was deeply involved in the Vietnam War and needed funds to create its own ICBM platform. In 1974, the U.S. shut down all of these Nike bases. 265 of these bases are still visible today, but only a few remain intact. Some have been reclaimed by nature, others repurposed or redeveloped by the military. But in recent years, Geographic Information System, or GIS specialist David Tewksbury, had worked to create a visual record of the sites before they vanished. The collection is extensive, including aerial photos of overgrown bases in Cleveland, Indiana, Chicago, Oahu, and many other places. A derelict mansion. In Hertfordshire, England, you will find a derelict mansion once owned by an eccentric Greek millionaire named Athanasius Thanos Togmentasis. Don't fret, it's not the purple world destroyer Thanos we all know. This Greek Thanos bought the property in 1999, living there as a hermit with 3 of his 5 children. In 2016, the family abandoned the building without any explanation. The mansion is nearly impossible to see from the road thanks to trees and vegetation, but overhead images of it can be found using Google Earth. Users can have a rare peek at the property. The house is in a state of neglect, and there are several rundown aging cars parked outside, including a Bentley. A brave adventurer checked out the home, and it seemed the homeowners left in a hurry. There was still furniture in the rooms, unfinished board games, drawers full of designer clothes, and personal belongings that you would take along if moving away. There were even clean plates in the dishwasher that were never put away. Thanos' life was shrouded in mystery. Nobody seemed to know what he did for a living. They just knew he didn't go out much and stashed wads of cash throughout the home. According to witnesses, he was obsessed with security, and he had guards and attack dogs on the property when he lived there. Thanos' brother, Gordon Michael John, spoke to The Sun, describing Thanos as a miser who acted flashy in front of people, but was cheap behind closed doors. He said the location he knew Thanos was living was in London, and the man clearly wants to be left alone and doesn't care to let the public know why he left his mansion on what seems to be at a moment's notice. The SS Justine. This is one of the largest shipwrecks that can be seen on Google Earth. If you take a good look, you will see that it appears to be lying on its side, probably in the same position as when it capsized. The SS Justine is a Bolivian cargo ship that ran aground on the Wingate Reef off the coast of Sudan on December 1, 2003. To date, nobody knows why this cargo ship capsized. A travel company called Emperor Divers asked the Sudanese government to relocate the wreck to deeper waters, but at the time, there was an ongoing investigation to determine who was at fault for the crash. SS Justine was launched in 1961 and was owned by the Al Tanzania Sea Transport of Qatar when it joined the many other wrecks in the area. Very little information is available about the Justine. It doesn't even have its own Wikipedia page, despite being one of the biggest wrecks and circumstances of its accident. The mysterious ice ship. 2020 was a strange year. A Google Earth user spotted what he thought was a 400-foot-long ice ship off the Antarctic coast. He shared his findings on YouTube, along with a suspicion that there are things hidden beneath all that ice and snow. The video has caught the attention of conspiracy theorists who didn't waste time chiming in their theories about this mysterious ship. Some people thought it looked like a cruise liner with windows laying on its side. But what would such a vessel be doing in that remote part of the globe? Some people believe that this mysterious ice ship is Noah's Ark, described in the Bible. All these theories might just be ordinary theories. There is a good chance that what the user saw was just a chunk of ice that happened to look like a capsized ship. Humans have a proven tendency to see familiar objects and patterns in random or unrelated objects and patterns. This is called pareidolia, the same phenomenon that causes us to look in the clouds and see familiar shapes. It seems our brains just love playing tricks on us. Roman ruins. A computer programmer came across something out of place while studying aerial images of his hometown of Sorbolo, Italy in 2005. Luca Mori spotted the path of what seems to be an ancient dried-up river. Nearby, he noticed some huge rectangular shadows. When Mori took a closer look, he determined that the shapes represented a buried man-made structure. He continued his examination until he could decipher what happened to be the inner courtyard of an ancient villa. Mori immediately contacted archaeologists, who had initially suspected that the discovered structure would date back to the Bronze Age. Later on, they confirmed that the site was a pre-Christian villa, based on ceramic fragments found on the site. Mori's discovery marked the first example of Google Earth being used as an archaeological tool. Mysterious stone structures. There isn't much story to be told about the vast arid deserts of Saudi Arabia. We don't know anything about what happened in the pre-Islamic era. The harsh climate, combined with the political instability in the region, has made it hard for archaeologists to carry out excavations. But technology is making it a lot easier for researchers to identify potential ruins in places that are not accessible. In 2020, experts detected more than 100 stone structures in the Nefu Desert using Google Earth. These stone structures are known as mustatils, and they represent a newly discovered type of structure. These mustatils are super ancient, with some dating to be over 7,000 years old. Experts believe that between 10,000 and 6,000 years ago, Saudi Arabia underwent a green period, where unusually high rainfall led to the presence of vegetation. The region was more livable compared to today. It is believed that the people who passed through the region or lived there during this green period built the elongated rectangular structures with thousands of stones and rocks. The mustatils represent some of the world's grandest prehistoric monumental architecture. Their purpose remains a mystery, but they were built near water sources, and researchers believe they were built in response to climate change.